Hi everybody, I'm Mary Abbajay and welcome back to my YouTube station. Let me ask you a question. How many of you ever feel like you're doing great work but nobody notices? How many of you ever wonder what people say about you when you're not in the room? How many of you feel like you are working really hard but yet people still don't know who you are? Well, if you do, then you are not alone. This is all about understanding how to build your personal brand and your reputation at work. Because guess what, folks? Doing great work isn't always enough to get noticed. People need to know how great you are. People need to know about your work. People need to know, well, what your personal professional brand is. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about what personal branding is, why we need it, and how you can start on your brand journey today. So let's start about talking about what is a personal brand, or what is your personal professional brand. Well, your personal brand is how people see you. It's your unique characteristics, the distinction that makes you, you, as opposed to you being somebody else. It's what sets you apart from others. It's what people come to expect when they are going to encounter or engage or work with you. Now, for a moment, I'm going to take apart the difference between personal brand and reputation, and then we're going to smush them back together. But let's take them apart first. Your brand is your intention. It's the person, the professional that you want to be. It's how you want to be seen by others. It's what you want people to think of when they think of you. It's what you want to be known for. Again, it's your intention for your professional persona. Your reputation, however, is what people actually think of you. It's what they actually say when you're not in the room. It's what people actually experience with you when they are collaborating and communicating with you. So today we're going to talk about how we can create a brand that is in alignment with our reputation, or how to align our reputation with the brand that we purport to be. Now that we've talked about what personal branding is, I know some of you are thinking, who fucking cares? Well, let me tell you why you should fucking care. Because in a world where visibility matters, your brand matters. To be honest, there's a lot of people who are good at what you do, right? You probably are working alongside some of them. So what's important is that people actually understand and they are aware of the great work that you do. And this is where personal branding comes in. Personal branding also is going to help you succeed because people will hear about you. People will hear about how great you are before they even meet you. So personal branding can help you get that new job, get put on that great project, help with your internal and your external opportunities, networking, and growth. Your brand also matters because it provides sort of a guidepost, a rubric for how you want to show up in the world of work. It helps define you, and it helps you make sure that you are staying authentic to your values and to who you are as a person and what you care about at work. So when we take the time to actually define our brand, then we take the time to live our brand, then we can start to magnify our brand. And once we have consistency in those areas, then who you are, your reputation will precede you. And if you create a positive brand, one in which people want to work with you, then it's going to help you find all sorts of great opportunities and growth explorations throughout your career. All right, so you're drinking the Kool-Aid, you're agreed that you're going to work on your personal brand, and you're asking me, Mary, how do I even begin this journey? Well, lucky for you, I have really 3 simple steps that you can engage in right away, starting right now, to actually identify and magnify your brand. It is called the I Am journey. You heard me, I am. The I stands for we have to identify our brand, which means we have to really articulate what our brand attributes are. We have to set our intention. The A means we have to activate that brand. We have to assess our brand. We have to really make sure that we're ready to put our intention into action. And then the third part of your brand, the M of the I am, which is my favorite, is how to magnify your brand. If you have a great brand, but nobody knows it, then it's not going to do you any good. So join me now as we start with I am, identifying, activating, and magnifying our brands. Okay, so this is not the fun part. This is the hard part. This is when we have to really sit down to identify our brand attributes. There's a lot of ways you can do this, but I'm going to try and give you a very simple way to do this. I want you to think of your brand in 3 kind of buckets. One is I want you to really identify the characteristics, the personal characteristics that you bring to the table. So if you take a piece of paper, everybody write down 5 adjectives that describe your character, you as a person, that you want to see as part of your brand. So for example, maybe they're energetic, maybe they're creative, maybe it's thoughtful, maybe it's salty, whatever it is, 5 characteristics that you think really speak to who you are as a person. Step 2 is I want you to identify 5 skills or talents that you want to be known for. These are the things that people will call you to do in the workplace. This might be Excel spreadsheet queen. It might be I'm a great writer. It might be I make fantastic decisions. My researching skills are excellent. Whatever those are, I want you to write down those 5 characteristics. Here's the third part, and this part can be a little tricky, but I want you to think about how you want people to feel when they're engaging with you. How do you want people to feel in your presence? And I know you're thinking, feelings, I don't want to have any feelings. Here's the thing. There's that famous quote by Maya Angelou that goes something like, people may not remember what you said or did in their presence, but they always remember how they felt in your presence. So for example, maybe you want people to feel comfortable, at ease, secure, excited, inspired, motivated. Whatever it is, really think about how you want people to feel after engaging them. And then as an added extra bonus, I want you to think of a sentence that you would like someone to say about you when you're not in the room. Like, what do you really hope people are saying about you when you're not in the room? I hope that people say about me when I'm not in the room that Mary Abbajay is fun to work with, she has great ideas, and she inspires us to do better, to grow, and to learn in our personal and professional lives. That's what I hope people say about me. But what they probably say about me is she swears like a fucking sailor. But whatever it is, make sure you really take some time to do that. That is how we begin our branding journey, is to identify what we want our brand to be. All right, we've identified our brand, we've started our journey. Now we get to the A part of our journey. And this stands for activating your brand. And actually, it's both activating and assessing. So once we have a good idea about who we want to show up as, what our personal professional brand should be, now we have to put that into motion. And the first thing we want to do to activate our brand is actually to assess it. How true really is it for you? Are you really living the behaviors that you want your brand to be? So you have to find out whether or not you are actually having the impact, this is the reputation of your intention, that's your purported brand, to make sure that you are in alignment. One great way to do this is to get feedback. I know, feedback makes me kind of throw up a little bit in my mouth, but you have to get feedback. So there's a couple of ways to get feedback. One is through formal mechanisms, such as a 360 or through like maybe a personality assessment. Anything that your organization offers or you can do yourself to learn more about the impact you may be having on other people. But truly, I think the best way to get feedback on whether or not you are living your brand is to ask people that know you well. You're going to ask people who really know you, trust you, and support you whether or not these attributes really fit you. My favorite way to do this is to email colleagues that I know or friends, people in my life, and give them the same exercise I gave myself. I might ask them to use 5 adjectives that describe my character at work. I might ask them for what are 5 skills that you think of when you think of me. And I might also say to them, what do people say about me when I'm not in the room? So be brave, go ahead and get that feedback. Now, the feedback you get really depends on who you ask. So Adam Grant talks about 3 camps of people that we have in our lives, and I love this. Camp number 1 are your unloving critics. These are your nemesis, your frenemies. These are the people just waiting to shiv you in the back when you're not looking. So you know what? Don't ask them. They're not going to give you anything useful. They're just waiting to slap you upside the head with some left-handed compliment. Don't ask them. They're useless. The second camp of people is what we call your uncritical lovers. These, for my Gen Zs and my millennials, these are your parents. Don't ask them. These are the people that just think the world rises and sets on you, that every breath you take is a gift from the gods, right? Don't ask them, because they're just going to blow smoke up your ass, and that's not really very helpful. The third camp is the camp I want you to look for, and we call these people your loving critics, right? These are the people that love you, support you, and will be honest with you. These are the people that tell you that yes, your ass looks fat in those pants. No, that haircut is terrible. Oh, I can't believe you actually said that. So you want to ask the people that will be honest with you and that love you. These are the people that can give you the best advice on whether or not your brand attributes are really true to you. Okay, we've started to activate our brand by getting some feedback to see whether or not these brand attributes are true for us, or at least that other people experience them. Now, let's say you find a gap. Let's say that you really want to be known as a team player, but the feedback from your people all came back being like, maybe not so much. You know, I see you as an individual person, or quite frankly, you're no fun to play with. If you get a gap, you have a couple of choices here. Choice number one is to let go of that attribute. Just be okay with not being a team player. Find another quality that you want to put in your brand. For example, I am not a team player. My team will tell you that. I don't like to collaborate unless I have to. I'm an individual person, right? So if I had that in my brand intention, I would either take it out, or if I really do need to have that attribute in my brand, or I really want to have that attribute in my brand, then I'm going to have to identify the behaviors that would showcase that quality. So for example, if I wanted to be a team player, I would have to learn what behaviors really great team players embodied. Then I would have to embody those behaviors, and I'd have to live those behaviors consistently so that other people started to experience me in that light. It can be a lot of work to do that, but if you have identified a quality that you want to be part of your brand and you think it's important to your success, then you have to really identify, embody, and live those specific behaviors. So we've talked about identifying, activating, and assessing our brand. I also want to talk a little bit more about making sure our brand is consistent through all of our different selves and all the different ways that we're showing up in the world. So when we're talking about the workplace, I also want you to realize that your brand is more than just when you are engaging with people face to face. Hey, how you doing? Hey, it's nice to see you working on this team. It's also your virtual representation of your brand. So I want you to really be thinking about your brand in your emails. Are you having the impact you want to have? Are you showing up as the person you want to show up? In your phone calls, and please, dear God, in your videos. When you are on your Zooms or your Teams or your WebEx or your Google Meets, this is a prime opportunity to showcase your brand. We're going to show you a couple of examples of how to show up virtually so that your brand is presented in a positive light. When you are on camera, remember, you are on camera, people, so you want to take the time to represent yourself physically in a way that's appropriate. This means front lighting, this means camera level, this means not being in the shadow, it means dressing appropriately from the top up. Business on top, party on the bottom, you know that drill, but it really does mean making sure that you are having the most appropriate virtual appearance that is in alignment with your brand. See the examples that we're showing you here. Who clearly looks better? You got one person, the lovely lady, who looks fantastic. She has good lighting, she's well groomed, camera is level to her face, and she looks professional with the professional background. The two doofuses, or would plural doofus be doofy? The two doofy are not presenting their brand very effectively. Here's a couple of things they're doing wrong. One is they have backlighting, so they're in the shade, and when you're in the shade, quite frankly, you look shady. Their camera angle is all kinds of wrong. If you are looking down on the camera, in other words, if your camera's below you, it sends a subconscious message that you're looking down on your audience, right? If I can see your ceiling in your video, then your camera is too low. It's pointed up too high. You also don't want to be just like a pair of eyes like this, where everything is too much, like face square off like this. People need to see you. Humans connect to other humans. And the last thing about taking a few minutes to make sure your virtual appearance is up to snuff is because it actually shows that you respect the other people on that Zoom or web or whatever call. Taking the time to look like the professional you want to be will only help to activate and reinforce your brand. Okay, everybody, we've identified, we've activated, now we're going to magnify. This is the M of the I am. And quite frankly, this is my favorite part. This is my favorite thing to talk about. Even though I'm not always really good at it myself, I love to encourage other people to do it. Magnifying your brand means making sure that you get out there. Magnifying your brand is making sure that people know you, right? That people know of your great work. It's still a networking phrase that doesn't matter what you know, it's who you know, but really it's not who you know with branding, it's who knows you. One of the big pieces about magnifying your brand is something I like to call shameless self-promotion. Oh, no, she didn't. Yes, I did. But let me tell you what I mean by that. I don't mean you go and promote yourself shamelessly. I mean you learn how to promote yourself and your work without feeling ashamed. If you can't talk about your work, who do you expect will? If you don't self-advocate, who's going to advocate for you? So shameless self-promotion is being able to get the courage and the mindset to be able to talk about yourself in a way where people will get to know who you are and what you're great at. All right, so when we talk about magnifying our brand, when we talk about our shameless self-promotion, it generally falls into a couple of camps. One is the shameless self-promotion, but the other one is networking. And networking is all about making sure that you get to know other people and other people get to know you. And because networking is a whole video in and of itself, we're going to put that aside for now. And you can check out other videos that we have on my site to learn more about best practice for networking. So let's go back to what makes us throw up in our mouth a little bit, and that is shameless self-promotion. Now, when we talk about shameless self-promotion, we are talking about how we can self-advocate without being ashamed, right? We talked about that. But there's some ways that we can do this that we are going to balance confidence with humility. Okay, so being able to shameless self-promote is not running around bragging. What often happens is people conflate confidence with arrogance. These are not the same things. Confidence means that you have confidence in your ability to figure things out, to get stuff done, that you are actually knowledgeable about your skills and your talents, and you have confidence that your skills and talents can be helpful to others. Arrogance is, so when we're confident, we feel like we're on par with other people, right? When we're arrogant, we think that we're the only ones that can do that we're the best, that everybody is lesser than us, and we put ourselves above people. That is arrogance. You can talk about your skills, your accomplishments, without being arrogant. It's about being confident and a little bit humble. I'm going to give you a couple of ways that you can really self-promote yourself in ways that are going to come across as confident, not arrogant. In ways that will come across as confident with a little humility. In ways that will serve you and help other people learn about your greatness without pushing them away through your arrogance. Okay, so here are some basics for doing a little self-promotion, self-advocacy. First of all, we want to be able to talk about our accomplishments. In order to talk about your accomplishments, you have to know what they are. So I'm going to recommend that all of you, starting today, starting right now, even pause this video, is to keep a list of your accomplishments. The things that you've done, the things that you are proud of, the projects you've worked on. You want to make sure that you have a running list of these so that you have something to talk about when someone says to you, "Hey, Mary, what you been working on?" Instead of saying things like, "Oh, busy, busy, very busy, 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 how are you?" Say, "Oh, you know what? I've been really busy working on these really fun videos for on YouTube with Kristen Wilhelm on my team, who's such a great producer and has such great ideas for the videos." Boom. Did that sound braggy? I don't think so. You know why? because I balanced the I and the we. So here's one secret, tip number 2, for being able to self-promote without being arrogant. And that is to balance the I with the we. You want to make sure that you are sharing credit where credit is due. You want to make sure that you are talking about your accomplishments while including other people in them. So for example, I might say something like, I just finished working on the Penske proposal. The team and I were able to bring it in 2 weeks ahead of schedule and 20% under budget. It was so great working with this team of people, and I'm so proud of the work that we did. Boom! That was self-promotion, but it also included other people. So you want to make sure you're balancing the I and the we, and you want to make sure that you are talking about accomplishments. I want to say one more thing about the I and the we, and this is to my ladies out there, the women, or those of you who identify as women. You don't want to go too far into the we. When you go we, then nobody knows what you did. For example, when my book first came out, I got interviewed tons of times, and the first question most reporters ask you is, so tell me, why did you write this book? And I swear to God, every time I would begin the answer by saying this, well, we wrote the book because we, and then the reporter would interrupt me and say, oh, I'm sorry, did you have a co-author? And I'd be very embarrassed because no, I didn't. But I had a hard time saying I wrote a book. So you want to make sure that you're not going too far to the I or too far to the we. All right, we've talked about the top 2 tips, sharing the credit, balancing the I with the we, and knowing your accomplishments. I'm going to fire hose you with a bunch of other ones. All right, number 1, keep your boss in the loop. This is low-hanging fruit. Do not expect your boss to know how fabulous you are. So make sure that you are sharing accomplishments with them. Make sure you are sharing compliments. Make sure that you are reinforcing your brand with your boss so that he, she, or they know about all the great work that you are doing. Another tip, join groups. Whether it's an ERG, whether it is a professional industry, whether it is just some little club in your organization, make sure you're expanding your network by meeting new people inside your organization, and you are able to talk about what you do. Which is my other thing, have something to say during chit chat. We talked about owning your accomplishments. Well, next time you are in a hallway and you run into someone and they ask you, hey, what you been working on? Have something to say. Volunteer on special projects. Be the person that says, I'll be on that committee, I'll help plan that party, I'll help do that, because the more that you can meet other people in your organization and the more they can experience you and your brand and your great skills, the more you magnify your brand. We talked about balancing the I and the we and sharing credit. Well, here's another tip to magnify your brand, and that is simply tout the success of other people. What this means is next time you're in a meeting, maybe you say, hey everybody, before we start, can we all give Kristen Wilhelm a big round of applause for that great project she completed? I thought that it turned out fantastically. When you do that, not only do you magnify your brand by showing that you are a gracious person, recognizing others, but you've now also associated your brand with the brand of success of somebody else. So tout the success of others freely and generously. And my last tip, no, I got 2 more tips. My second to last tip, my penultimate tip, is to mentor and coach other people. This is a great way to help other people learn and grow, and it helps promote your brand as a positive brand of somebody that is knowledgeable, experienced, wise, and generous. My last tip for managing your brand, for magnifying your brand, is to become an ally. Be the person that seeks to invite other people to the table. Be the person that seeks to ask who's not at this table, who should we invite in. Getting to know people who are marginalized or who are not being able to be at the table can not only help magnify your brand, but magnify your network. And by the way, it's the right thing to do. So those are my tips for being able to magnify your brand starting today. So let me give you an example of at Careerstone how our different brands of the senior team work. So my brand clearly is Spastic. No, but seriously, my brand is, here's what clients call me for. My clients call me to do the after lunch keynotes. Why? Because I bring energy. So I'm known as someone that's going to bring some energy. I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to be a little informal, and I'm going to really make people feel comfortable but energized and enthusiastic. Robin's brand is a little different. So Robin brings humor. She's funny as hell, but she also brings a more thoughtful, deep dive. So Robin's brand is more about let me really sit with you and really explore some options and really get there deep so that we can solve your organizational problems from the root cause. Kristen's brand is kind of a combo of Robin and mine. Kristen is the most creative of all three of us. We call Kristen when we need to have a creative solution for something, or we call Kristen when our stuff is boring and we need to spice it up with some great interactivity, exercises, or just ways of thinking about things. So that's just an example of how our different brands work, and our clients see that, and so they'll choose the one of us that feels the most right for their particular situation. So your brand already exists. Every one of you already has a brand. Your choice here, your opportunity here is to decide whether you want to shape your brand with a little bit of intention, if you want to shape your brand to make sure that's working for you and not against you. You can shape your brand using the I am journey that we just talked about. You identify your brand attributes, you activate and assess them, and then you magnify them. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please drop it in the comments below. Let us know about your brand journey. Let us know which of these exercises worked for you and which didn't. And if you're interested in seeing more of these no bullshit, no fluff, all straight talking videos to help you be successful at work, please subscribe below. And until then, we'll see you in the next video.